Hello and welcome to Pickles Garage. Today we are working on my 1923 T-bucket. Specifically, we're working on the brake switch. Now, I already know that this is a pressure-based brake switch, but in case you have one of these, you'll know that most of them are kind of cobbled together with different parts. So I'm going to show you how to find it first in sort of the general area where it's going to be, so you can kind of verify what yours is before you go ahead and buy the part. Now, if you already know that you have a pressure-based switch, I'll go ahead and start on that repair after I go ahead and show that initial part. So let's start diving in. So first off, we'll go over some symptoms of a bad brake switch. Now, brake switch, obviously, if it's not working, then you might notice that your brake lights aren't turning on. Or you may notice like mine. Mine, I know they're still pretty dim, but they're actually brighter than they normally are because my brakes are actually on. They're stuck on. And so that's how I know that my brake switch is bad, because these are brighter than they normally would be. So that is a good indicator. But if I press the brake pedal, nothing changes. They're just going to keep looking like that, which is obviously very dangerous. So like I said, let's go ahead and show where this switch is likely to be if you have a similar build as I do. So always a good place to start is going to be the light switch itself. So obviously I've turned it on with that, and it's a good sort of central hub to see where things are going. So these are going to be like the headlights. I just know that just from already reviewing this, but you'll notice these lights are going towards the rear here. So that's deciding what is connecting to what. So this braided one here, typically it's going to split, right? Go one light and then the other. So usually if there's something that is a tandem like this, it's most likely going to be just for your sort of general running lights, which is more confirmed with it going directly to the box here. This other line though, this single line, goes off and then it splits here, right? It's got a connection and then it splits, and it looks like it goes into the loom, but it doesn't. It actually rolls underneath. So now we'll look underneath the car. And then as you can see, it goes down, goes along this frame here, comes up right here, and then see the top of that silver piece right there. You can see the two lines are connecting into it, and that silver to the left of your screen is the actual pressure switch. So just from seeing it, I know that that is a pressure-based switch. So that is what I will go ahead and be replacing. But like I said, if you have any other sort of switch, you can sort of follow the wires and verify. But this is very common for these older builds, and they're actually relatively cheap. So let me show you where I got mine right now. And of course, naturally, if you don't want to try and find the wires all the way back to the tail lights, then if you can find your master cylinder, which is, this is the bottom of, this is where the brake pedal is pushing in, right? If you look in this general area, it's either connected to the master cylinder or a T fitting pretty nearby, which is what mine is as well. But I was having an issue just with this jumble of wires and whatnot. So for me, it was easier to go back to the source. But now that we know what it is, let's go ahead and most likely lift up the car a little bit, so that way we can get a better grip on this thing, and we will work on the removal. And we are working with electricity, so let's go ahead and remove the negative side of the battery. Now it always helps to look at the new one just to kind of see what you're working with here. So you'll see that the two wires are kind of snapped in, and then this is threaded in, right? So it's not a conventional looking kind of nut here. So it's not supposed to be over tightened, which is kind of why they do it in this funky sort of pattern. So we'll break it loose and then we should be able to do the rest with our hands. But we're going to get these wires off first. And mine is kind of in a funky location, and so I'm probably going to try and use a tool like this so I can kind of reach around and then pull it. So I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So as you can see, I have this bar here, and then underneath, kind of similar situation, I got a bunch of hard line that's blocking me from being able to move it around a whole lot. So I'm just going to try and reach over and disconnect those wires carefully. But that is what I'm working on right now. Alright. So, sorry for the audio change, but tool is a hair too long, but I got it. And there's our disconnected wires, just had to pull them straight back like I mentioned. Now, I mentioned earlier, this is a hydraulic based pressure sensor. And so what that means is when fluid is kind of shot into it, that's what regulates the switch. And so what that means is when you unscrew it, there's going to be liquid on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and put a bucket down for our brake fluid. Now, what is most important with everything that I'm saying right now is you're going to unscrew it and it's going to start flowing. So unless you want to completely re-bleed all your brakes, you got to have the new one on hand ready to go, so that the moment this one gets removed, you have the new one to go ahead and replace it and stop that flow. So I'm going to get all set up here, and then we're going to get this removed. And with any air or liquid, you know, it's best to use sort of thread tape, but you don't want to put it on the first few threads here because it'll just make it a lot more difficult to put it on, but you want it on the back ones. Alright, so I got my bucket, catch my brake fluid. Now it's definitely at a weird angle because it's like up against the bar and then there's not a hole around here, so I'm not going to be able to use a whole lot of different tools, but I'm going to go ahead and try this. It's just a small sort of adjustable grip here. And then I have my new one ready to go. I do think I'm going to be able to back it off quite a bit before any fluid starts coming out, but I want to just have it at the ready, so maybe I can do this all in one fell swoop. But let me go ahead and see if I can get a grip here on this. Because worst case scenario, I think I can grab at the prongs and try and twist those, but can't really go back after that, so I'm going to try and avoid that. Okay, so I can get a grip there. Okay. Just trying to twist the hard line, which isn't ideal. I just need to break it loose ever so slightly. Now, I don't want 20 minutes of me fiddling around footage, so you might see some cuts and some breaks, but I'll let you know what I ultimately am able to get it off with. But I think I can get a grip there. Let me keep playing with it. Alright, I won't lie to you, that took like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Half the tools in my toolbox, but this ended up being kind of one of the first ones that I picked up, and it ended up being the right one. So basically I just had to grip it from the other direction and kind of grab it from the top and just pull down a little bit and walk it out millimeter by millimeter. So that was fun, but now it is hand loosening, so I'm gonna get everything ready. We'll get lined up to get the new one going, so it's gonna be a little messy, but hopefully it's not too bad. Alright, there we go. Let's get the new one in place. Alright, I think it's threading a little bit. There we go. At least get the brake fluid to stop. Alright, now get tightened on both sides here. There we go. Alright, I don't think it's leaking anymore, so I'm going to wipe this all down just because it's really bad for your paint. But, you know, it's the underside of my car, so not the end of the world. So let me clean this up, and then I'll do the finishing tightening. Okay, so we're just going to finish off tightening that back up. I'm going to try and use different tools other than those kind of clamps I had, because they certainly will chew up your old ones. So something that you can get is something like this. They call it a crow's foot. And essentially it's so that you can have a ratchet in here and get at kind of weirder angles, right? Like a 90 degree. But the reason it works for what we're doing is you end up with a really short wrench because you really don't have to overly tighten it. You just have to get it nice and snug. And something like this, you won't put too much torque on it, but it'll still allow you to kind of grip it a little easier. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and finish up getting that tightened, and then we're going to snap those wires back on it. Okay, so now we're just going to click these back in. You'll hear a audible click on your side, and then we can go ahead and give them a test. Alright, so let's give it a test. That's our running light here. I'm going to go ahead and step on the brake, and as you can see, we now have brake lights. So that is how you go ahead and replace that pressure-based brake light sensor. Now, what I would advise from here is go ahead and check the sensor area, make sure there's no leaks around that area so that it was nice and snug. And then it's very likely air could have got into the system, so it is advisable to go ahead and bleed your brakes. There's tons of videos out there, so I'm not going to go into a full detailed brake bleed at the end of this video, so go ahead and reach out to one of those. But just high level, what you're going to do is you're going to start at the furthest away tire from where your master cylinder is, and you're going to go ahead and put a hose on this, lead it into usually like a bottle, a Gatorade bottle, water bottle, whatever, full of brake fluid, and then you'll just open this up a little bit with someone kind of pressing on the brakes. Now clear the air out as they kind of pump the brakes. You'll have them hold the brake, and then you'll tighten this back up, and then you'll work on to the next one. But like I said, start furthest one away from your master cylinder. But thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.